Welcome back to another edition of the Leadership Blend with your host, Ricardo D. Rice, and my correspondent,
Simone.
Okay, so as y'all see, I'm moving the mic close because I'm tired of getting yelled at about not talking to the mic. So I'm going to put it really close to me today, but it's all good. All right, Simone, what do we have on the rundown?
We're going to cover politics, of course. So the Democratic debate had not yet happened the last time we talked, and it was here in Atlanta, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about yet another fun addition to the Democratic ticket.
Oh my God, stop saying.
And what's going on with 2020. The Washington Post put out a report about the 4 states that they thought would be determining 2020. It looks like 2020 is going to be up to a handful of people, a handful of demographics. So I want to talk about that too. Then we've got local news we'll cover, some entertainment we'll cover. Quick disclaimer, discussions on the Leadership Blend may not be appropriate for some audiences. Views expressed by the host are intended to elevate the conversation and are not necessarily representative of the host or Thinking Out Loud Network. It's good to do. I want to keep us lawsuit free.
Yeah, I don't have no money for any of y'all. So I'm just letting y'all know I don't have any money for any of y'all.
You'll end up in probate.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, it's going to be frivolous to try to get anything out of me.
Lord.
It's like getting blood out of turnip. Okay, some housekeeping before we get into it. Number one, if you missed any of our shows, they are on Spotify, iHeart, and Apple Music under podcast. So you can find the Leadership Blend, type it in. I've done it myself. I was quite proud. It's kind of cute. So if you missed last week's episode, and of course you can go to my YouTube channels, the Leadership Blend, to catch up on any shows as well. But if you're in the office and you just want to hear the audio, there you have it. You can go on over to iHeart, you can go over to Spotify, you can go over to Apple Music, type in the Leadership Blend under podcast, it'll come right up. And you can actually catch some of our past episodes with some great people, from Tamika Milburn to Chris Clark, who's the CEO of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce, and a host of other people. So you can find us everywhere. I keep us everywhere. And naturally, you can go to the website, ricecommunity.com. That's Rice with a W. So all those places you can find us, we're everywhere. Look, that's what we do. That's how we get down. All right, Simone. I'm trying to tell you, we're everywhere.
Everywhere
you ought to be. So there you have it. All right,
cool.
Simone, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's talk about Mayor Bloomberg. So Mayor Bloomberg is running for office. He just announced, actually as of this morning it's been official, but he had paperwork filed on Friday. So he's going to be running on the Democratic ticket. This brings our field right now to 18 total.
Oh my God! This is so upsetting. It is
unbelievable.
November the 25th. It's almost Christmas. Okay, look. I'm trying to understand. So you mean to me I can still run for office?
You can still run for office.
What is the deadline?
So here's the thing. He will not be competing because of how late he's filed. He can't compete in Iowa. He can't compete in New Hampshire, Nevada.
What was the point?
Or South Carolina. But he says that he's looking forward to Super Tuesday. So Super Tuesday is the Tuesday where most states have their primary elections. So this Super Tuesday is going to be March 3rd, 2020. It can change every year. And he said he's looking forward to Super Tuesdays because all the different primaries, Georgia's for all the major states, in addition to a majority of states, will be holding their primaries in March. And he says he's looking forward to that. He said he's not taking any donations. He is a billionaire, of course. So he says
that's all we need is another billionaire.
That is, I think, the point of him running as well. His campaign, not his official campaign staff, but CNN was reporting this and said that he believes that a billionaire can beat another billionaire, and that's why he's running in the race. Just the Democrats do not have the guy that they need to beat Trump.
Because nobody has enough money.
Well, so he says he's gonna be that guy, and he's not gonna take any donations whatsoever. But because of this as well, he will not be able to be on the debates in the future. Because, the debate criteria from the Democratic National Convention is that the number of fundraising dollars, the number of fundraisers, meaning individual donors, and then also where you're polling. So because he's taking donations, he automatically is disqualified from any of the future debates. So he will literally just be running on his own. How is
that a thing?
Booking your own slot on TV shows, I suppose, holding your own forums and events and town halls, and maybe doing a social media campaign. I don't know how billionaires think.
Clearly, they have their own psyche. Okay, so everybody knows at this point how I feel about this. This is crap. The fact that we can't even shake the ones we have is a problem in itself. Remember, people, the goal is to get this down to 2 or 3 people at best.
Yeah.
Within a reasonable time, which in a reasonable time is probably January?
Yeah,
December?
I think 1 would be ideal. I think 1. And again, because we're already in late November, there's less than a year to go. So we're less than a year out. I think that when we get this close, we should really have the guy, and the conversation should be about VP. It should be about who's going to go along with that ticket.
Because secretly, and she think I don't know, but I know. Secretly, Stacey Abrams is waiting in the wings to have the conversation.
Really faithfully on
I'm telling you, Stacey Abrams is not out. She's been biding time and having conversations. Stacey Abrams, shout out to you, girl, love you. Stacey's sitting in the wings, waiting to find out who's the prime candidate so she can have that VP conversation. It's just what it is.
Do you think it should be Stacey?
It depends on who becomes the primary candidate.
So what if it's Biden? Biden's still number one right now. He's still falling in the number one spot.
You might not like me, but honestly, I think that if Biden, which I'm not going to lie, I hope he doesn't get it. I just don't think he can hold his weight. I think we give him too much credit. And I think that credit is unjustified. Yeah, I think people want Biden because of nostalgia. Oh my God, if we had Biden in office, he was Obama's wingman, and the wingman can be just as good as Obama was. So bring back that feel good moment that we felt with Obama.
That's what Vox said, that Obama's legacy is running. Obama's not running, but Obama's legacy is running.
Which is cute, but to listen to Joe talk, it's not good. Like I didn't watch the debate, but I watched the highlights. And that whole, which we'll get into, I'm sure, that whole we keep pounding it, fifth statement, when you're talking about abuse and things of that magnitude, you have to know stuff like that, not to make those kinds of connotations, not to put those kinds of wordings in the same sentence. The fact that you can't do that on the fly, and as a king of on the fly right here myself, there's certain things you have to know not to do. And the fact that he didn't know not to do that, and that's not the first instance of Joe putting his foot in his mouth. But
our current climate right now, right? It's not Obama's administration. It's not a clean, polished, put together administration.
So there lies in my other point.
People do say, Joe is a class act in comparison to some of the words we've heard our current president say, and he doesn't even go back and apologize on things he's put in. So I thought you said that we've been discussing the bar being lowered. So
yeah, but that's after you sparred with Trump, which he has yet to do. Like when you
you don't think he can hold his own weight?
I do not believe he can hold his own weight. If you can't hold it with the lightweights on the stage that you're on, what do you think he's gonna do when you get in the ring with a heavyweight? Because he's gonna be going for blows. He's not pulling no punches. It's gonna be what it is, and that's what it's gonna be. And the fact that you can't spar with what's the word I'm looking for?
With his opponents? Like
with your opponents who are in the same field that you're in, how am I ever supposed to believe that you can go toe-to-toe with the man that say he was going around grabbing girls in the JJ?
Okay, well, so what about Warren? Because I've been talking to you about Warren for a long time on the Democratic ticket, that she's got a plan for absolutely everything. She's very strong on stage. I think in terms of debates, she knows exactly. She's not easily veered off course. When I've seen people throw curveball questions at her, she's got something for that, and she's going to keep going on and get back to her point. I think that's important. I think that's a very impressive technique to be able to do. I feel like in my mind I could see her on one side and Donald Trump on the other side, and I could see them really holding their own.
Yeah, but that's the issue now, and we've talked about this before. My concern with Elizabeth Warren is people still, whether they want to admit it or not, especially old school people who are still primary voters outside of the millennials and stuff, they have a certain perception of women. And, I'm not saying that they have to curtsy and bow down when a man walks in the room, but at the same token, you have to be able to go toe-to-toe with a certain level of elegance that I can't necessarily say that Elizabeth Warren possesses. I haven't seen it. And I think that in order to get the old school vote, she's going to have to show a certain level of decorum and still be able to spar like a dude. It's kind of that whole, which I never thought I'd be using this analogy, but I'm going to.
That double standard? That's what it sounds like.
You know what? Whatever. The whole Steve Harvey, think like a man, but something like a woman. What was it?
I don't know.
Think like a man, but
I think that
still be a lady.
solidified my interest in women.
Something like that. I think that's what this has to be. She has to be able to think as fast as Trump, but not be as crass as Trump. And I don't know. I think Elizabeth will go in like a dude. I can't say that people will be attracted to that. I think that people will still have a certain level of elegance that's expected from her because she's still a woman.
So who should it be at this point? We know what's happened with Bernie Sanders lately, right? Not saying he's not. He's still in the top 5 to his credit. I think that legacy carries you a long way.
I'm telling you throwing jabs. I'm telling you throwing little things in.
Because to be honest, Bernie Sanders has not given us really any moments in this campaign cycle. He is still remembered for and revered for who he presented himself to be 4 years ago in the campaign he ran 4 years ago, and that movement has grown. But I also think it may have outgrown him. I think that to a certain extent it's been taken over by younger folks, by more progressive folks. I just think every single one of his policy positions, whether it's free college or free health care or universal health care, all those things have already been kind of taken by other folks, and they've been taken to a second level while he's I don't know. He hasn't been as out front. So is he supposed to be? If you had to pick today, if you had to cast a ballot today,
of one or just
for one, for just one, who would that be then on the Democrat? If it's on the Democratic side alone, maybe you like Mark Sanders on the Republican side, or Sanford, excuse me, on the Republican side.
I don't know why. I don't know why you thought he'd
so who should it be? Because there are more than just Democrats running, and I want to make sure that we acknowledge that. So
you're full of crap.
Who would it be?
And you full of crap.
Booker, perhaps.
Oh my God! I can't believe you just told my intelligence. If I had to cast a vote today for a Democratic, the person, I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know if I'd vote, and I never thought I'd say that. I don't think there's
Why
anybody.
Wouldn't you vote at all?
Huh?
Why wouldn't you vote at all?
I just don't know who's been worthy enough. Because as much as I love Bernie, a heart attack brought things to reality. Bernie, you might be a little too old for this job, bro. And it might be a little too stressful for you. Then you get into Biden, who I just do not feel like can hold his weight against Trump.
Okay, but you're not going to vote for him so he can try to hold his weight against Trump? You might as well vote for Trump.
Let me scratch that. Let's scratch that. I would never not vote. So I don't want anybody to say, let me scratch that comment. I should never say that. If I had to cast a vote, at this point, it probably would be for... it would come down to Warren or Biden.
I was going to say you could vote for Biden begrudgingly. But what? So here's the
I
thing.
feel like I can write that on my ballot. So that doesn't really make me feel anything, but I can't write that on my ballot.
But here's the thing, and here's what's unfortunate, is that we saw this, I think, in 2016, which is that Donald Trump did not get nearly as many votes as former President Obama did. And what really gave him that election was 2 million people staying home. 2 million plus people staying home. Mm-hmm. It really means something when people aren't excited to vote for someone. It's a very bad sign. People have to be excited to get out there and vote for someone. They need to believe in hope or change or whatever. MAGA, they believe in something to get out and vote. Because it's not enough for them to feel like, that just doesn't get as much people out. It gives people excuses. Oh, it's raining a little bit, I think I'll stay home. And then it gives people excuses because they're not really excited about it in the first place. So, speaking of, let me paint a little bit of picture, a quick picture here. Washington Post reported this really well, and they talked about what the election is really going to come down to on this electoral map. Like, there's 4 states that there's been speculation in about 6 states that the 2020 election could come down to, and they've confirmed about 4 for sure that they believe it will really make a difference, and the presidential race will be determined by these 4 states. Now, these 4 states did flip for Trump in 2016, but he won by less than a percentage point in those states. So there's Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Florida, and Michigan. And a lot of these have been, Florida I think people know is a swing state. Pennsylvania most people understand to be a swing state because there's kind of Philadelphia and then every place else. Michigan was very, very surprisingly for Trump in 2016. But because he barely flipped Michigan, I do think that that's something they think is still in play for that reason. And then again, Wisconsin. So what's funny is that they do not believe Ohio will be one of those states. And Ohio is pretty much always been considered a swing state, and that's now off the list. And they've talked about 4 specific groups that should really make a difference too. So they talked about white women without college degrees, which are, I guess, the number one piece of Trump's base, or the GOP's base, I should say. The second is college-educated suburban voters, in particular women, who were literally split 50-50. The third are African Americans, particularly younger African Americans, which they're calling younger under 40, because the turnout levels, we had the lowest turnout levels in 2016, and purportedly cost Hillary the nomination. In addition to group number 4, which are Hispanic voters in Florida. So, and I think we even talked about this a little bit, because when I was looking at the numbers, that was one of my biggest shocks, was seeing how much support Trump had among Hispanic voters in Florida. Because he ran such an anti-immigration campaign, I think a lot of people assumed, well, the Hispanic vote's always been the Hispanic vote. The Hispanic vote's kind of like the black vote, is like slightly more in play, but even 10 years ago, Republicans weren't, they were excited about maybe getting the Hispanic vote, but it was considered a long shot. And so for Trump to get it in 2016, and Trump of all Republicans to get it in 2016, that was a really big deal. So that's considered group number 4 of who can determine this election. So under 40 blacks can determine this election, ergo, we cannot stay home during this election. It's just not an option. Now, your old folks, as you claim, maybe the mothers, maybe the mother board can stay home.
I mean, look.
I don't want anybody to stay home, but I'm saying.
I think that for the first time in a long time, the Democrats have a problem. We have a very big problem. There's just a formula, and I understand that Trump doesn't have to follow a formula for the Republican side because nobody really wants to run against him. Yeah. But for the Democratic side, the stakes are too high to not be in a position to definitively back one of these individuals. And we're not even remotely close to being there. And I feel like this is the time that Democratic leadership has to step up and say, and I keep saying it, but I'm not joking, they have to step up and say, you, and you go home. We thank you for your participation, but we're not giving out honorable mentions here. You don't have the backing. You don't have the support. You got to go home. Get your supporters to follow one of these top 3 that we've tried and tested and polled who can actually go against Trump. And until we do that, who's to stop another idiot from saying tomorrow they want to run and making this number go right back to the 20-something we started with?
Imagine just 20 split amongst 5 people going into January, February.
I mean, the more people that enter this race, the less interested people become.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of it. Like, even the mere fact that the first thing that came out of my mouth was, I just won't vote, which is not my character, that should tell you how uninterested people, how fast people can get uninterested in this, and the stakes are too high for people to not be interested.
I agree, and they may need several months to get interested, which is why if everyone were to drop out today,
I'm going to tell you.
Then maybe by May or June, people could have some yard signs with whoever the guy is. But if you keep it going, people are still going to be walking around wearing their Bernie stuff, and Bernie may have dropped out, and you know what I mean? So it's like, you have to not only narrow it down, but you have to give people time to warm up to where, because we need to admit at this point, there is no star. So whoever this is, there's going to need to be another campaign that happens in addition to the campaign to sell them and to galvanize people around them and to, start with the commercials and the ads and all the pictures of them and their family and the kids, and let us meet the dog. Let's start painting the picture. You know what I mean? You got to paint the picture, because Obama came with the whole package. He came with the Michelle package.
I'm trying to tell you,
he came with
it
daughters.
was beautiful.
He came with the mission, with the city. People thought Chicago. People thought Hope and Change. People thought, oh, he's a community organizer. Oh, and the poodles. It was a package. You got to sell people on a whole package, and if you can't even pick the guy, it's gonna take you. How are we gonna love the package?
And we've talked about this before. The power of social media, and the reality is, none of these candidates control social media. I watch them. None of them are good at social media. So it'd be different if there was one candidate who was like, you know what? I know I'm getting this nomination, so in the meantime, I'm going to be building this social media campaign, getting this thing going. None of them
social
have
media really matters.
I'm telling you, it's about 60% of what they need to be doing. Nobody has taken that level of initiative. These idiots are sitting around waiting for debates in the hopes that we watch these debates. Most of us don't watch debates. We get the highlights, and depending on where you get your highlights from, there's a spin on it. Yeah. So they're going to spend more time, on Cory Booker. It depends on who you're listening through. Mm-hmm. They're going to put their own spin on it. So
another thing to think about too that is playing into the fact that social media is so much. Organic reach on social media is so much harder than it used to be.
Yes.
And it's crazy because with everything that happened with Cambridge Analytica and Trump 4 years ago, there's been a huge outcry from not just the Democrats in the White House, but they let it spread all over the country that social media and these tech companies have too much influence, they have too much power, they have too much control, and they're drumming that drum that, we've got to crack down on these tech companies and stop people from getting all their news from their feeds. So it's like, okay, now we've done that. Now you've cracked down. Now if you're an influencer, or even if you're on social like that, you know how much harder it is to go viral, to get a following, to share and spread content. It doesn't spread like that.
Nope.
So now you're at a point where, okay, it's election season. Mm-hmm. People live on social media. You've cracked down on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram's ability to share political advertisements because there was, the problems that there were. So now you really can't see political advertisements like that. Like, when's the last time you were on even your Facebook feed or Instagram and you saw just a whole bunch of political advertisements? Like, you haven't. You may see viral videos spread if people spread them, but very rarely, because they've cracked down so much on political messaging on social media. So it's like the base that you needed, which is the people on social media, the young people, young people across races, the college-educated folks who are also on social media, they're not seeing it. So they're not as excited about it. So maybe you should have waited until 2024 to decide that Facebook was too powerful, because maybe you needed Facebook to win this election. I think that was a huge mistake. I hate to say it, but I think...
Well, now, remember why they were... Part of the reason why they would make that decision, because the ideology is to always stop the bourgeoisie from controlling narratives. So what it would boil down to with Facebook is whoever has the most money can run the most ads and control kind of the narrative. Mm-hmm. So I get it. It's just like you said, and it's nothing different than what I was talking to a young guy this weekend, a young artist, a music artist, and he was saying, I have this music and blah blah blah. And my first question was, what does your social media look like? Mm-hmm. We don't really use social media. So how you plan on letting people know
exactly
that you want to?
This is the town hall. This is the town square of this century. This is how you go and figure out what's going on in the world and who's people standing up on their boxes and trying to get attention. That's what those ads are. Maybe buying ads isn't great, but what they also did was crack down on political content, period. So they've tried different things. They've tried saying, okay, well, I have to opt out if I don't want to see political ads. Now it's to the point where you have to opt in. There's the disclaimers that says this is political in nature. Things get flagged like crazy.
And nobody reads, despite what people think. Nobody reads when it comes to social media.
So if something is blocked, you just kind of keep scrolling. Oh, well, it's blocked, whatever it was. Well, that could, so it's also made it much harder for candidates to get attention. Trump's not running ads. I don't know if he would anyway.
I don't think he would anyway.
I don't think he would anyway, but it's like, it doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter if it's somewhat neutral or not neutral. You can't see any of it. And if you weren't watching the news, like actual cable news, you might not even know that an election was going on, which I think is, it's a problem. This is where people live,
Literally.
I really think they should have waited till 2024. And it goes back to the core value of Facebook, which I just can't stop getting away from because it's so significant for us, which is that this is a place where, for free, you should be able to talk about what you want to talk about, and if people like it, people share it, open marketplace of ideas. Beautiful concept. It's still a beautiful concept. It still works. And if the government would just...
moments that I realize who you really are. I realize who you really are in these moments.
If the government would just step out of it, it could work. It could function properly.
Yeah, but there has to be some kind of regulation. Like I said, now, if that's the case, whoever has the most money and the most power and influence would control the narrative. We don't want that.
But if influence is up for grabs, then it's just a question of who wants to take the initiative to get the influence.
Oh, so you're a fan of communism?
No.
Because that's really what you just said.
No. I said if influence is up for, meaning whoever's willing to work hard enough to get the influence.
Oh, please. Let us not fool ourselves into believing that everything that goes on in the United States is merit-based.
No, but social media was. It really was. The people who went viral and, hide your case, hide your wife, the things that spread and got popular came from just... remember that. Yeah, it was classic. It came from just pure ingenuity. It came from the reason the Shade Room got as big as it got, and now it's literally one of the biggest, most credible cultural sources in the country. It's I think almost as credible as TMZ or has equal followership as TMZ. So it's like that happened because back in the day you could grow an audience just by having good content. You didn't have to spend a lot of money on advertisements. So I don't know. I think it's worth rolling back these regulations. I truly do.
All right, so let's segue to the debate.
Okay.
Because like I said, it hadn't happened the last time we were on air. So now that it has happened, this plays a big part in what happens moving forward. Because like I said, apparently it's what all those idiots were waiting on to get on the stage to
you really don't think they're doing nothing in between time, huh?
I haven't seen much. Okay, so with the debate, of course, like I said, I didn't watch it because I can't sit through stuff like that long. I'm not even going to lie. That's where my ADD kicks in. But I always make sure I watch the highlights and I read articles. And I read a variation of articles so nobody can see me to their side. What I did recognize, and I was listening to a radio show and I actually agreed with them for once, which doesn't happen very often, when they were saying that after the debate was over with, all of a sudden all the candidates started to hit everything. So they were at Clark Atlantic, they were at Morehouse, they were all over the place in the city, all the black places in the city. So, but I will say that they played a clip of Cory Booker, and I've never, that's a strong word, he's never been at the top of my list for anything.
To say the least. You've kind of been a Cory Booker hater. You've kind of been anti-Cory.
Okay, that's a strong statement.
You've kind of been anti-Cory since this thing started.
Cory Booker's a brother. Now, he's a light-skinned brother. But, I'm a pecan tan brother. But Cory Booker is a brother, so I would love to have, support my brother.
But you've been unimpressed with him from Jump Street.
Well, he hasn't done anything that's impressed me. So, yes, I won't say that I hate him, but I won't say that I've been wearing a t-shirt that says Cory Booker on it. I will say that the clip that they played as it pertained to legalizing marijuana, when they talked about the clip before they played, I was like, this is going to be stupid. But when he spoke about it, he brought a whole new perspective on it that I had not foreseen or actually had even entertained. And his take was making it legal kind of disarms the law enforcement to be able to pin certain crimes on racially profiled individuals. Meaning, if you take away the sting of them being able to charge you with marijuana, it frees the hand of a lot of other people to be able to live their life, live their best life. I never thought about it from that perspective, so I kudos to Cory but apparently he was electrified by being at Tyler Perry Studios and being in the Black Mecca, quote unquote, of the South.
There's a lot going on when you leave Jersey, Cory.
Apparently,
come on, you late.
That was a jab, but okay. That kudos to Booker for being energized by the black base here in Atlanta. So yeah, that was a highlight for me. And like I said, that was a take on marijuana legalization that I had never thought about. So, like I said, kudos to him for bringing that up and making that point. He was very passionate from the clip that I heard. Now, like I said, I'm actually proud of him. Doesn't sway me to vote for him, but I was very proud. And if he can continue that momentum, he might have a shot with me. He might be able to get my vote.
So Vox News said that during that debate that the winners were definitely, they said Booker, because I think probably because of the comments that you made. They also mentioned Buttigieg. They said that he rose to the top of the polls, that he had a very good
Iowa,
night.
which is
well, right, in
which
Iowa.
is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very big deal.
They mentioned also Warren. They said Warren had a good night as well. They said that Biden was probably the loser of all of the candidates because they mentioned his answers were kind of long-winded. They were hard to follow. They ended abruptly. They just said these debates haven't really shown him at his best. That's what they said.
No, they're showing Biden for who he is.
Come on now.
Let's just call it what are you. So actually, we didn't ask you. So who would you vote if you had to vote right now?
I would vote for the. If I was a Democrat, I would vote for whoever's number one, which right now is still Biden, and I would hope that he would pick Warren to be his VP. If I was a Democrat, that's why I'd be voting, because I think that he still stands the best chance against Elizabeth Warren, even if it's only for those superficial reasons that you said most people may have in their mind, which is that they want a man, and but if it has to be that, then Biden.
Well, now I will say that if Biden becomes the main person, I don't think he should take Elizabeth Warren. I don't. Because they have two completely different personalities. Elizabeth Warren, I would feel like Elizabeth, no, it would be, but I don't think that Elizabeth Warren knows how to take down. I just don't. She would do what she does, and I think she would ultimately end up, I really believe that. Even from a vice president standpoint, she would end up running the country.
Well, my hint is that that's what's going on right now anyway. That Pence is doing a lot of the grunt work. And reading the reports and reading the briefings and doing what he has to do. No, I think Elizabeth would be in the front. And that Trump is chilling. Okay, well.
I think she'd be in the front. It would be. I think it'd be a situation of, don't worry about it, Biden. I got this. So, airplane one. We're going to here. I feel like that's what it would be. It wouldn't be okay. Well, Biden, maybe you should. They'd be like, no, I got it. It's good. Don't worry about it. It's good. Take him back to his through the West Wing. I'll take care of this. I feel like that's what it would be.
Okay, but would that not be a better scenario than 4 years of Trump from your perspective, or would you prefer 4 years of Trump to Elizabeth Warren?
God, no, that's not a question. I don't want 4 years of Trump.
Right, then.
But at the same token,
so Joe was happy, and if Elizabeth is happy, I don't.
The American people would not be happy.
And President Trump could get on, or former President Trump, in that case, could get on and write his book or start his reality show or whatever he's going to do to capitalize on this whole situation.
No, but you got to think about but you got to factor in diplomacy. If that ends up being the case, that's not going to look good to our diplomatic partners around the world, because you already going to have an issue. If a woman wins, let's not downplay the ripple effect it will have throughout the world. There are still countries that will not respect a woman leader, especially as a president of one of the biggest countries in the world.
We have to think about that though, because Europe has been on that for a long time. So we wouldn't be the first Western democracy with it. And frankly, Trump has made a lot of enemies for us. So I think his leaving alone would potentially rebuild a lot of bridges.
Yeah, but it still boils down who comes behind him. And I don't know if a woman comes behind whatever Trump has done. I don't know. I don't. When you start thinking about all the other variables that have to get factored in, it turns into I didn't see that part, but it's something we do have to consider. So, I don't know. Were there other highlights from the debate that you want to get into?
No, I think that this is the end of the year debate. I don't think it pushed anybody way ahead for me. It didn't change a whole lot for me. I'm glad that they went on a slight HBCU spree after the fact. But again, I'm more looking at Super Tuesday. That's the next thing I'm looking forward to.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. All right, everybody. We are back on the Leadership Blend with your host, Rick Hardy Rice, and my correspondent,
Simone Cherie.
Okay, so we can continue that conversation. So, we want to get into something fun. Shout out to Verizon for being the .com. Now, you can say whatever you want to say. I know we pay our arm and a leg. I have Verizon. We do pay our arm and a leg for service. But we can go anywhere. We can talk any place. And we can do anything we want to do with our service. So I've never had a problem with it. But they just got a lot of cool points. For those that are Verizon people and did not know, if you have their unlimited plan. Oh, Verizon, you ought to pay me for this. This is a plug. Mm-hmm. But if you have the unlimited plan with Verizon, check your account under add-ons. They have gifted us with a free year subscription to Disney Plus. You get Disney Plus. You get Disney Plus. You get Disney Plus. We're so I just loved it, and so I've been enjoying Disney Plus.
What have you been enjoying on Disney Plus?
Honestly, with Disney Plus, I still have. There's so much on it. I still haven't gone through everything. I know I haven't. Like every time what I ultimately had to do was go to the sidebar and click on search and series. And it pulls up series, and I went A to Z, and I was like, "Oh my God!" There's a list of other stuff from Kim Possible to DuckTales to Tailspin. Yes. Oh my God, I'm just.
So you're about to get your tune on then.
Yeah, I've just been,
It's not free for me, but I'm a Disney
you sound a little salty.
Fanatic, and so there really is no price I won't pay. Unfortunately, that's just
it's only $6.99. That's not act like you're paying $10.
Exactly. No, but everything else has been free for me. But anyway. It's definitely worth it, and I love the original movies. That is what my generation loves. In fact, they specifically said, I was reading about this, that the people most excited about Disney Plus are definitely not current day Disney folks.
Yeah, it's not.
It's for us.
It's nostalgic
and
for us.
Forget y'all, and nobody cares.
I felt like I should have been sitting on the floor, my legs crossed with a bowl of cereal in front of the TV.
There
That's
you go.
what I feel like I should be doing every time I hit that button and Disney app shows up. I can't.
Well, I've been watching Rip Girls and Johnny Tsunami and Smart House and Halloween Town and Queens and Up and Away and Alley Cat Strike and things like that.
You're such a weirdo. Everything you name, I don't know half that crap.
And The Luck of the Irish. They're all Disney Channel original movies. And Lizzie McGuire. And Boy Meets World.
You would watch Lizzie McGuire.
Oh, Lizzie McGuire.
God, you would watch Lizzie McGuire.
And Boy Meets World.
What was the very first thing you watched?
The first thing I watched was, oh my gosh, it was a movie, Xenon Girl of the 21st Century. But then I watched Halloween Town, and then I did watch, what was the other show that came up? It wasn't That's So Raven. It may have been actually Lizzie McGuire. That may have been the first thing that I watched. I think so.
Everybody knows.
Show, and the reboot is back. I'm so
Everybody knows the first thing you're supposed to watch on Disney Plus is Avengers Endgame. Everybody knows that.
Maybe
that's 3 hours of your day that's spent watching Avengers.
Boy.
Oh my God! It brought me so much joy.
Yeah, see, we also be having an amen with me. I did watch DuckTales too, though, so I'm already actually.
Wait, new one or the old one?
The old one.
The new one's kind of cute.
The very beginning.
Look, anything that has Magical Dispel in it, I'm about that life. I just love Magical Dispel.
And I caught me a little Hercules, and I'm probably gonna catch some Little Mermaid today.
Oh, you watch old.
Don't judge me. Yes.
I did watch Sleeping Beauty. Because I wanted to see, it's been so long, I wanted to see their portrayal of Maleficent. So I was like, let me go back and see. I don't
Is the new Maleficent movie out yet?
Yeah.
It is?
Part 2.
Is it good? I know the first one was good. It was okay. Sequels are hard.
Okay, so let me say this while we're on sequels. I did see Frozen 2. For those that know me, I'm a big kid.
Yeah, I had a great weekend.
Despite what people think. I watched Frozen 2. Listen, for those of you that have not seen it yet, let me give you the disclaimer. Frozen 2 is not like Frozen 1. Frozen 1 was very lighthearted. It was very fun. We just kind of were going with it. Frozen 2 is not like that. Frozen 2, they really told the story of how Elsa became Elsa and who their parents really were. So you're more on a voyage about self-discovery versus the whole lighthearted, fun, my sister has powers and we build snowmen.
And let it go.
Yeah, and let it go. It's an amazing movie, but for a different reason. So don't go into it thinking it's going to be this fun, lighthearted thing. No, they have their moments, and there are some very funny moments in it because you got to have fun with Olaf. There are some very funny moments in it, but it is more about storytelling and about generations before them and what made Elsa who she is and what she is. So that's just a disclaimer. It's still a very good movie. I would definitely say go see it, but you are prone to cry. Now, I'm not saying that I did. I wouldn't say it. But it could happen.
I'm sure. You have the most, I just want to say, you have the most journalistic demeanor when we talk about things like this. I thought your entire vibe and energy changes, and the precision with which you deliver what we're reporting on totally changes when we talk about anything related to Disney or comics. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that? It is when you are the most serious. We can talk about HIV, we can talk about human trafficking, we can talk about a lot of things, but if we are talking about tunes, you have such a level of seriousness.
I don't know how you feel about that.
It's very cute.
I just think look, we talk about serious subjects all day, every day.
Yeah.
So when it comes
to serious about this stuff.
I mean, look, I am a cartoon. I think
I'm not broken it. Look, it's okay.
No, because something happened over the weekend that I had to stand back and was like, wait, what? Okay, so over the weekend, I finally did headshots. And for those of you that follow me on Facebook, I posted a headshot for my community because I know my community is very outspoken. So, of course, almost 200 people commented because my community is very outspoken from friends, family, associates, all that good stuff, which is what I like. I want that. So if you're not my friend on Facebook, I don't know if you can, but send me a friend request because I have 5,000 friends. So send me a friend request, Ricardo Ricky Rice. Remember my last name spelled the W. Love to have you added to my community because you get to see everything that I do outside of this. So I was surprised because I chose a picture. I did Slingshot. I think it's called Slingshot. Amazing. Shouts out to them. They did a really good job. So they take 50 pictures. I'm very picky. I don't like pictures. I hate sitting and being told to turn left, turn right. But I needed new headshots. So I chose one where I wasn't necessarily smiling. And I got complete grief about it. Like my friends. Yeah, I thought I was smizing. I got my Tyra Banks on. But apparently it was about 70-30. The 70 liked it. The 30 was like, you're not smiling. And people that know me know I love to laugh and smile. And my uncle, who was an actor, got on me about it because he said, people like you because you have fun and you smile when you're on the air. Well, that's cool, but I can't get that to translate in a picture. That's not a selfie. Now, selfies, yes, I smile and laugh all day. But sitting in front of a desk thing and a cameraman telling me to smile is the most awkward thing I've ever done in life. So it was very hard. My uncle and my aunt chose a picture that we still talking, going back and forth about. But it did make me go back and look at some of the pictures where I actually smiled. And I think I did find one. So we're going to scrub that, and I will put that up. So for all my friends and family that were getting on me about not smiling, I'm going to rectify that in the coming weeks. Just wanted to put that out there.
One of the tips I also would like to share, just so we can keep it educational, that I've also learned is that I think one of the coolest things you can do with the picture, with getting the right picture, is not to take a picture. It's to have somebody take a video of you. Have them take like a video for 30 seconds or 60 seconds and catch some smiles and catch some laughing and catch some seriousness. And it seems like that's the best way to kind of, then you just gotta scroll through and find that exact little angle where somebody's probably not going to just do that naturally. They're just not going to naturally do that. But if it's in their general motion, it is a lot of work. I'm not a photographer, but it does work for
that's gonna be a lot of work.
social media.
I mean, the objective was accomplished. I got one good picture was all I really wanted. So it is.
Can we talk about freebies?
Well, what?
Black Friday freebies. Since the week is coming up, it will be after Black Friday. So listen, quick disclaimer: I do not do Black Friday, but a lot of people do. And even last year's Black Friday, which I thought the economy was so bad, was like the most. There was more money spent during last year's Black Friday than in the last 5 years.
I didn't think Black Friday was still a thing.
Yeah, but it is, and so is Cyber Monday. So if you are going to be out doing Black Friday shopping, in addition to being careful and watching out for human trafficking, which is at an all-time high, there are some freebies I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of. So Belk, which I think is mostly a Southeast chain, but it's a very big store. Belk is giving away freebies. Shoppers between 4 p.m. on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, and the end of the morning, Friday morning, will receive gift cards, mystery gift cards. So they will start at $5, they'll go up to $500. There's some free cash for you. There's free coffee and cookies at Walmart, again starting at 4 p.m. on Thursday, and going through to Black Friday when it ends at 6 p.m.
So let me get this straight. You want me to risk my life?
I'm saying if you're going to be out and about anyway.
Is there going to be coffee with those cookies?
Yes, coffee and cookies. Where you can get free stuff.
Considering how much Walmart traffic is on Black Friday, they should have been giving out something else. I don't know about cookies. They should have went a little harder.
Coffee and cookies. They
should have went
Now, if it's their bakery cookies, they're perfectly fine. Those little marketplace things that are $3 for $1, those are some of the best cookies that you'll have in the store.
You are so full
Moving
of
on,
randomness.
CVS, your favorite pharmacy, is giving away toothpaste, gum, and store brand Tylenol.
Clearly, that's for the cashiers. Because it's going to be early in the morning. Your breath going to be stank. So clearly, that's for the cashiers.
But you can also get a free 23andMe genetic DNA starter kit. So I think that may be worth your while. It is that retails for like $79.99 on a good day and up to $129.99. So go figure out your ancestry. I love seeing people like that. And finally, Office Depot. Now, this is a members-only freebie, but being a member is free. Go to Office Depot, and you can get select Duracell batteries and Keurig coffee pods, and you can't even win a coffee maker if you go between Thanksgiving and Saturday while supplies last. I think those are great things. I think retail is clearly trying to make sure people continue to buy retail. You know, nobody buys retail like that anymore. People buy online. Cyber Monday is huger and huger every year, so I'm sure this is just an attempt to kind of get people in the store.
I just think that Amazon broke the mold, because I can find what I need from Amazon and pay...
Go Amazon.
Oh God, for God said that. Jesus. Just gave you an end. Okay, yes, I
Great
just
job,
felt like
Amazon.
Amazon has broke the mold on that because anything I really want and I don't want to pay an arm and a leg for, either I go to Micro Center or I go to Amazon. Micro Center if I need it right now. Amazon if I can wait a couple of days.
A couple of days. So I just ordered some batteries. We're talking about yours. I just ordered batteries from Amazon.
Okay, you're lazy. I'm not ordering
I'm
batteries
not
from
lazy.
Amazon.
They were a good deal. It was a good deal, and I'm gonna get them today.
Unless you order 500, I don't know what good deal that could possibly be.
I got 20 batteries,
for
AA and AAA's, for like $11.99, which is a very good deal. And Prime membership, they're giving 50% off, I think, Prime membership. So now's your opportunity. So you don't have to call yourself waiting for forever.
I'm not getting a Prime membership. I tried it once.
Why?
Because I'm not paying $12.99 because I never really I don't order stuff from Amazon like you do.
No,
so it's not really worth it.
The value.
Okay. Oh, actually, I left something out. So, so since we're in an entertainment type segment, God, I can't believe I'm saying this because everybody knows how I feel about this particular station. Okay, so over the weekend, I did the free trial of BET Plus. I know. Everybody knows how I feel about BET. I feel like they have dropped the ball tremendously. Yes, I feel like BET has dropped the ball tremendously. They say they're supposed to be black entertainment television. I don't think they've done anything justifiable for our community in a very long time. But I will say that BET Plus is a winner. Yes, I know. Now, granted, BET Plus costs more than Disney Plus and Hulu. BET Plus is $9.99. It's $10 a month. Hulu is only $5.99 and Disney Plus is $6.99. So first off, I feel like BET is out of their league.
Or you must have
Hulu.
the basic.
Yeah, the basic one. I'm not getting that extra crap. I feel like y'all are out of y'all league pricing wise. But I did do the free trial because the reason I did it was I really wanted to see the First Wives Club with Jill Scott. I thought it was a black adaptation of the Caucasian First Wives Club, which I love. It's not. It's a series, which I did not expect. But I started. I didn't get to finish it because it's a series. I thought that BET Plus was only going to be a bunch of Tyler Perry plays and movies. It is not. Somehow they got their hands on some good stuff. Primarily, and it's funny, because I was literally saying, I really want to rewatch Single Ladies, which used to be on VH1. Now, for those of you that are a little older, Single Ladies was thebomb.com when it was out. It had Stacey Dash, Lisa Ray, Queen Latifah was the executive producer. It hit hard some years ago. I thought it was 3, but apparently it's 4. Somehow, BET managed to get that on BET Plus. They had me at hello. There are Tyler Perry plays on there that I've never seen. So I spent most of the weekend watching BET Plus. So shouts out to BET Plus for doing something good. Outside of that, BET is a montage of just a bunch of randomness. I'm not even going to lie. But I just wanted to say it is worth doing the 7-day free trial. I may actually keep it.
I was going to say, because they don't want people just doing the free trial.
I know. I may actually keep it because it's going to take me a minute to finish watching Single Ladies seasons. There are some things I've seen from Medea. I do love a good laugh. So shouts out to BET Plus. There, I said it. Shameless plug. Where it's going to move forward in the future, I don't know. But they may get a couple of $9.99 a month out of me.
I would like to make a quick recommendation before we get off this topic altogether. So I try a lot of different new shows, and I have all of the platforms, and I really love Amazon Prime and the original content that Amazon.
Of course you do, because it's Amazon.
Is pumping out, and there is a show. I'm a supporter. There's a show called The Feed, which is available on Amazon Prime. They actually adapted it from London, but it's called The Feed. It's a really great series. There's only 1 season out so far, so I like being in that position because I can see all the first season. I don't have to wait for any new episodes, but at the same time, it's like it's not already over, like all the way over. So there's going to be a second season. The Feed is basically about a time period in which we have implants, which give us listen. They give us a social media feed that you can see. So it's like everywhere you go, you can see your friend. You don't have to have a device in your hand. It's like you have a feed in your mind, and you can also communicate with people. So instead of text messaging or SMS or Facebook messaging, I could send you a message just right here, like telling you that
you get lazier and lazier.
It's an awesome show, and but basically the premise of the show though is that the feed gets hacked. I'm assuming by Russians, but I'm not going to give it away. I'm not giving away. It's not a spoiler. I haven't seen it. I'm assuming it's by Russians. But essentially, the feed's in your mind, and now the feed gets hacked, and so people start spazzing out. It's a really good show, and I think it's supposedly set in the not so distant future.
See, that's why you like it.
Futuristic.
That's why you like it.
Futuristic movies.
You like this because you in your back of your head, you know that art imitates life. So you know that
Yeah.
you feel like this is actually getting ready to happen. So you just get prepared. This is recon.
It's
But it's
kind of
fine. This is recon. It's fine. I know you. It's
exciting.
recon.
And
It's fine.
I feel like it relates to you. There's an underground movement of people who are against the feed and have gotten their implants removed, and so nobody can find them. They're like off the grid. I could definitely see you belonging to that.
Okay, let me stop you there. First of all, I'm not taking anything out that you're not putting in me. So there's
were
that.
mad. Everybody's got the implant. Even little babies have little feeds.
Oh my god.
It's kind of awesome. So
I
do recommend checking it. It's on
you can
Amazon
find that.
Prime. It's called The Feed. And it's starring a very, very diverse cast. Lots of black women, lots of black men, Asian Americans, lots of underrepresented groups.
How about, well, are they people that we know in these lead roles?
No, but I think that's what's great about it. Because Amazon and Netflix both do a good job of putting new people on your radar, not just a whole bunch of old that you've already seen before. Although there was one recognizable face, which was Ron Weasley's dad from Harry Potter. He's the only person I recognize.
I don't even know his name. So
I don't either. It was a good show. It was a really, really good show. Well, we have I don't know if we have a short amount of time left, but I did want to cover Marietta and homelessness. You're doing a documentary. Maybe you could talk about the documentary, or I could refer to the story, because Marietta is considering taking in 5,000 homeless folks from New York City. The city council will be voting on it today, so I thought that was very, very pertinent, very present. Why are you rolling your eyes? You know we have a homeless problem.
They're not in my problem, so why are we going to expand that homeless problem?
Well, we're not expanding it, we're just moving it, shuffling it around a little bit. Like so this is the story. It came out of the Marietta Journal. So New York City government has already adopted this amendment. They're just waiting on Marietta City Council to vote on it today. They are trying to export members of their homeless population across the country, primarily to Cobb County. So we will be getting the largest shipment, I suppose, if our council votes for it. Marietta Councilwoman Michelle.
Shipment. This is not books.
It's a shipment.
This is not books.
That's what they called it. Was a shipment.
Not books. Like
Councilwoman Michelle Cooper Kelly wants to do something about this. According to this story, it's a program called Special One-Time Assistance. There are about 5,074 homeless families, 12,482 individuals that are supposed to be shipped across 32 states. Marietta would get the largest amount of that ship.
relocated.
Relocated.
Bodies. Bodies.
These are people who have been staying in shelters for at least 90 days and do not have enough income to even make partial rent. So Marietta would essentially receive these folks. I'm assuming, I like to say with open arms, but with your reaction, I'm not sure. We have a much lower cost of living.
Where are you going to put them?
They will move to the housing that's available. So,
which is where?
So New York City, because they want to do this, they're going to provide stipends, right? So they're splitting the group in half. People who can afford half of the rent or more out of that whole group, they're going to get a subsidy to stay in New York. The people who cannot afford even half of the rent, they're going to get a subsidy, which will help them to get an apartment here or a house or whatever else that the subsidy will let them afford.
See, this is where the fine print comes in. So
where? In your backyard, your next door to you, right next door to you is where they will be.
Probably.
I mean,
like, okay,
we have homeless people in Atlanta.
They're not in my point. Atlanta, okay, for those, since you put it out there, for those who do not know, aside from my television show, my team is working on a documentary. And when I say working on a documentary, we followed a friend of the show, Erica Wright, who runs You First, nonprofit, where they actually make love bags, which consist of washcloths, toothbrushes. So they actually make little love bags. They go into the community and actually distribute those love bags. So it's not that they're making them and just kind of giving them to somebody to take out there. Erica personally takes these things into these communities because she's been homeless herself. So the love and the passion that she's had, if you've never seen our show, you definitely should go on the YouTube channel and watch it. She's been in it twice. Mm-hmm. But the love she has for the homeless is amazing and astounding. So we followed her and actually did the work. And the stuff that I've seen is not only heart-wrenching, it's disgusting and it's scary. So we have footage of people living on the bridges. Mm-hmm. We went to visit some places that you would think are really taking care of the homeless, and it's not that they can't. It's a matter of restraints, financial, the being overrun with so many homeless people, and we're talking about from kids to adults to the elderly. Yeah. We visited one park in particular, which I can't remember where it was because we went all over the city. We went to one park in particular, and there were literally elderly people laying on the sidewalk. Now, granted, this was before it got cold, but it was sweltering outside. It was 12 o'clock, and it was already almost 100 degrees. And you imagine your grandmother laying on a sidewalk under a tree with no water, no food, trying to survive the day, only to make it tonight to still not know where she's going to sleep, because that was the plight of a lot of these people that we were encountering in this particular park, and that's just one scenario. Mm-hmm. And that was the thing, they were trying to survive to the night, only to not know where they're going to sleep at night, because most of the shelters do not offer overnight stays. So
there's only so many beds, yeah. So they can have services during the day. But...
Well, apparently the bigger issue is they closed down one of the biggest homeless shelters in the city. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they closed it down, and I guess they had enough beds for about 500. Well, now that no longer exists. So there are only specialty shelters that cater to specific classes of people. So there's one that's only for males. There's one that's only for families. There's one that's only for females. There's no collective because that major one closed down. So this is all the stuff you'll see in the documentary, which you're trying to put together now. So this bothers me because we can't take care of what we have. Mm-hmm. So how are we bringing in other people to take care of their homeless? And if New York can come up with stipends to take care of their homeless, why can't we create stipends to take care of our homeless? So I don't understand who made this decision.
I mean, a big
this
part
is the dumbest decision.
Well, I'm also thinking that the government is going to cut that municipality would cut Marietta check is also what I'm thinking about. But so the cities that seem to be doing this, not only New York, San Francisco and the Bay Area are doing this as well. This all comes down to rent. It's got the number one cause behind homelessness at this point is the cost of rent. It used to be drugs. We used to talk a lot about that. We used to talk about mental illness, and those are still those are big correlating factors between the people who are homeless. I don't know if one comes before the other or not, but the cost of rent is really changing that. It's becoming like the number one cause of homelessness. Because the rent is just too high.
Well, the problem is that, and it's like the cost of living continues to go up, but wages don't seem to be going up.
Well, yeah.
Hence the $15. Thank you, Bernie the Burnster.
Thank you,
hence the $15.
Jeff
You know,
Bezos.
but even with that, by the time the $15 kicks into effect, the cost of living, I'm sure, would have gone up again on something.
That is
so
true.
You know, we're behind times with the wage gap. Like, you know, yeah, it's great if we've gone to 15, but the cost of living is now almost at $20 an hour. You have to make almost $20 an hour just to survive.
Yeah, they said it's $24 an hour for anyone with a child. If you have even one child, $24 an hour is the.
Which, okay, so we did the math the other day because I was meeting with the team and we were trying to paint this picture better because the point of the documentary is for everybody to stop pointing fingers. Because everybody keeps wanting to say, well, it's government. And government wants to say, well, no, we're giving the money to the nonprofits. They're just not distributing it. And the nonprofit is going, no, we're distributing what you're giving us, but it's not enough to cover all the homeless people that keep coming to our doors. Mm-hmm. So the point of the documentary is for everybody to stop pointing fingers and say, no, you, and you, there's a gap between what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And nobody is recognizing that there's a gap. Mm-hmm. So I gave the kids an example. And I said, okay, let's break down the average wage. So if you're bringing in, let's say, $2,000 a month. That's a nice, clean number. So you're bringing in $2,000 a month. Your rent is probably anywhere, depending on we'll say you're single. So your rent is probably about $1,000 to $1,100 baseline for decent. That wiped away what? What do we say? $2,000. Mm-hmm. You're left with $1,000. If you have a car note, your car note is probably anywhere from $300 to $400. We'll say $350 to be fair. Mm-hmm. So that wipes away. What are we down to? About $6 something. We're down about $6 something.
Down to $650 without insurance or
See,
gas.
you better math, which we got to get into. Your insurance, depending on whether you're male or female, is probably going to run you what? $200. We'll say $200. Where are we at now?
Let's just say $100.
No, you're not getting it for no $100.
Let's just say $100.
You're not getting it for $100.
Stop with the.
No.
I'm looking at what the budget is left.
No. Okay,
the budget you're giving me is making me nervous.
No, we gonna make it plain. So, okay, no, I'm gonna say you can't have $100 insurance because if you have a car that's a new car, you have to have. You can't just have liability. Anything outside liability is gonna run you about $150 to $200. So your insurance is probably gonna be about $200. So subtract that from where we were. We at what, $4 something?
Now we're at $450-ish.
All right, so that's your car, that's your insurance.
Gas?
Gas for your car. Most people commute, so you're looking at about $100 a week.
No, a week. My God. No.
If you depend on where you live.
Okay, a week.
Depending on where you live.
Okay, let's just make sure the food and the phone is in there. Food and phone.
Oh, okay.
And the emergency.
Your cell phone is going to run you at least. Well, that gets iffy. If you want really good service, you're going to have to go to one of the top providers.
You can't have really good service with this budget.
I'm just saying.
I'll let you know right now.
You're going to have to. Your cell phone bill is probably going to run you on the lower side. The lowest for good service, $100. Fair. About $100.
Go ahead.
Subtract that. Where we
at? At $350.
You're at $350. That's your cell phone, your car, your insurance, your apartment. We ain't even got there yet. We still got to cover the gas. Mm-hmm. So what's the number we had now?
$350. We said. Let's just say $350. Let's just say.
That's what we left at. Did that cover gas?
Yes.
Okay, so you're at $350. That's covering gas. Mm-hmm. So you got $350. You gotta eat. On the lower side.
If you're frugal, maybe $2 to $250. You can do it. You can do it between $2 and $250. You can.
We're talking about a month now, so that's all right. So subtract that out. We left with what? Let's say $250.
$100.
Now You're left with $100.
The electricity.
We ain't even got to utilities. We ain't even touch utilities. That's just, and mind you, that's just the necessities. And we're talking about a month. So we're down to $100. That does not include utilities, which is depending on where you live. I lived in an apartment that had gas and electric. That's two separate bills. Mm-hmm. Those two together were $150. I don't even have to go any farther. You already in the whole $50.
All right.
Heaven forbid you want to have a life. You're not going out. You're not going to a movie. You can't even catch a matinee.
And don't you dare get sick or let any of those tires go flat. Everything must be in tip-top. But here's the thing. There are ways I could poke holes in this. I won't.
I want you to. Go ahead and poke holes in this.
All right. Well, you don't need to be living alone. Point blank period. That's a luxury.
Well, if you're an adult, I'm 40. I don't want to live with somebody.
Well, you're 40. You're not making $2,000 a month. Can't do it.
Okay,
so
actually, let's put a spin on this because now the new thing is everybody wants to get a house. So it's for a mortgage. Now.
We talking about what? Hold on.
I'm just saying people going.
You already upgraded. It's insufficient.
I'm just saying, but
downsizing.
I'm just saying, but people feel like getting a house is a downside because they swear a mortgage is less than apartment rent.
Who can get a house?
I'm telling you what I'm seeing. So now let's swap out. Let's say people say, well, if I get a house, it's going to be cheaper. On the front end, you could be right because your mortgage may be $600 or $700. On the back end, when that refrigerator goes out and you can't call a landlord and you have to replace the refrigerator with money you didn't account for, it is not going to cost you less.
We're not going to make that.
Or when the toilet breaks, or when the sink goes out, you have to call a plumber. You don't account for any of these things. You just see because that's what they sell you on. I've seen these ads. Oh, you should get a house because it's cheaper. Your mortgage is cheaper. On the front end, it is.
Stop these ads.
On the back end, it is not.
Ads.
So, but go ahead and continue.
Because the average consumer has $70,000 in student loan debt, and you don't need mortgage debt on top of that. Not to mention the average consumer.
We talking about the average.
The average consumer credit score is 585, which means that if you are getting a house, you're probably getting bent over to get the house.
But
so let's not
on the
worry
front
about
end, it looks good. On the front end,
no, the rent is expensive, but it's not. We're not. No. I'm
just telling you.
Get a roommate, right? Get a second job. Get a third job.
Oh my God!
Don't you dare get sick. You don't have that luxury. Don't get sick. That's the fourth. It'd be cheaper to pay the fee for Obamacare than to worry about having health insurance or no insurance, right? Don't commute. I don't know what you got a car for. You can't get a car. What you need to do is get a place with a roommate or 2 or 3 or 4 that is very close to your exact job, and don't lose that job. don't take off that job. This is what it comes down to. So your lifestyle must be. There are 6 women. I was talking to the girl who was serving me at the restaurant the other day. When the Eagles lost pitifully, she's living with 4 other people.
Oh my God.
Just staying in the apartment in Buckhead. She's 23.
You can do that
apartment in Buckhead.
You can do that at 23.
Well,
when I'm 35,
it's not glamorous at any age.
Yeah, but at 23, you can
that's what she chose. I'm not saying that's a smart decision. I'm
just
saying
23.
that for one apartment, I don't care how old you are. It's ridiculous. But this is the cost of living. It's very, 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 very high. So don't make it harder on yourself by trying to be cute. And trying to have a new car. I don't know what you got a new car for when you're talking about $2,000 a month. $2,000 a month is almost poverty level as far as I'm concerned. Even in Atlanta where we have a low cost of living, $2,000 a month ain't gonna get you far. I wouldn't even go out to eat $2,000.
Now, mind you, all the numbers that we just played with are for single people. Mm-hmm. We hadn't even looked into a family.
No, absolutely not. No business. That's a luxury you can't afford. It's a luxury.
You don't even have the Takim and Rakim and all them out there.
Stop putting.
I got a cousin named that. He got 5 kids. I can do that. Having all these babies, because if Laquita really decides to put you on child support for them 4 kids you got, you ain't gonna be able to eat at all. You gonna be homeless. No, so stop it.
Or incarcerated.
You gonna be in jail. Stop it. Stop having all these kids. The point is, we laugh to keep from crying because the reality is the cost of living has hyped up so much, and we fought for things, but we didn't fight for the right things. So now we're sitting at a place where you're fighting for $15 an hour, but by the time because there are laws in place that will kick in, some of them start next year, some of them start the year after that. There are laws in place that are going to take the wage to $15, which is cute, but you needed $15 almost 10 years ago. Now having $15 isn't really going to amount to hill of beans in the reality because the cost of living inflation isn't going to stop to wait on this kick in of $15 an hour. Mm-hmm. So by the time you get to 15, you need 25. By the time you get to 25, you're going to need 35. Mm. We got to start picking our battles better.
What Warren was talking about, Democratic candidate Elizabeth Warren was talking about, was she wants to do a wealth tax, and she's unapologetically calling it the wealth tax. If you remember, even 8 years ago, Democrats never wanted to call anything a tax. They would always call something a offset or a subsidy or a diversion. They never wanted to. She's straight up saying a wealth tax. If you're a billionaire, 3%, boom, automatically. And she said that alone will cover the cost of healthcare for the entire country. She said 3% of the billionaires alone. She said if you're in the top 1%, which is still very, very high, maybe you're a millionaire, 1% tax. So she's flat out calling it a wealth tax, and she's like, this is going to even... What I can say for sure is that even if the cost of rent stays right where it is, saving money on health insurance would save me a whole lot, as well as the taxes. My tax rate in general. You know, I think the tax rate is still too high. I know they passed a tax package. That wasn't really for me. Wasn't for a lot of tax brackets. I think my taxes are still way too high.
Here's the beauty of Elizabeth Warren, and by beauty I mean that's straight sarcasm. So you really believe that the wealthy are just going to lay down and let you tax them?
Law. You have a choice.
Again, you think they're not going to get some extra lobbyists in there to fight this bad boy tooth and nail? By the time you get this passed, by the time she get this passed, she'll be out of office. If she ever gets this passed. We've said this. Every politician says that. Oh, we're just going to get the wealthy, because if we can get the wealthy to do it, then they'll take care of everybody else. And the wealthy goes, ha 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 ha. That's not happening.
But they have paid more than they used to pay. I mean, Donald Trump's tax reform did really put a lot of money back in their pockets. So they were coughing out a lot more than they used to cough out, that's for sure.
It boils down to people.
And she's also talking about universal pay, which makes a bit with healthcare and health insurance. That would make a big difference too. The insurance industries are probably the biggest winners in this economy, period.
Absolutely, hands down, absolutely.
So that would change a lot.
It boils down to, and these are the moments that the middle class has to understand the importance of staying on your representation in your local government.
Thank you.
These when we talk about these kind of scenarios, they make the difference. Because what's important to you should be important to them. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes that's not the case. Mm-hmm. Because remember, they get a nice little paycheck.
$174,000
with $300 food budgets a month.
$30,000 furniture
a week.
budget.
I think so. A week. We talked about that some months ago. You know, they have $300 food budgets a week.
Thinking about it. So, $174,000 these senators get, and they're only in session 9 months a year. Max, they're off for all the holidays. Not dirty work.
I'm just saying.
I just can't stand.
You know, we sit around and wait for the presidential election, but that does not hit you as fast as your local elections.
Yep.
So when we talk about these kinds of things, these are the variables that are not accounted for. You know, your fat cat sitting up in the state house getting a fat check with a $300 a week stipend for food. I don't eat out every day, and I don't even spend $300 a month in food.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So what's important to you should be important to them.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, what's important to you should be important to them. And if you're not letting your voice be heard, it's not going to be important to them. So I'm just saying.
Very true.
But I digress. Now, that segues us to one of the other articles that I was reading about unions.
Oh.
And that pair of... Oh, my God. This is where... Oh, my God. You're such a...
It's okay. We can be on opposite sides.
You're such
Go ahead.
You're such an elitist.
With your pro-union rant.
You're such an elitist. Now, this story ties in to another story. When I was reading, I was like, wow, it's quite interesting. Okay, so for those that do not know, United Auto Workers, people who work in for GM and places like that, those places still exist. Yes, they still exist. They have been undergoing negotiations because they still have a union, one of the very biggest unions in the world, or in the country, I'll say, one of the last remaining few unions in the country, about their union workers. Now, here's a problem that I have that you get scared about when it comes to unions. Now, the ideology of a union is to create kind of I'll say family that in essence is supposed to have a leadership that looks out for the individuals that are a part of the union.
A legal team.
So, yeah, pretty much a legal team. They're supposed to provide the members with legal advice. They make sure that you are getting a fair, workable wage. That's kind of the purpose of a union. So to find out that the leadership in a union is stealing from you is not only a problem and disgusting, I want somebody beheaded. So apparently the president of the United Auto Workers Union, Gary Jones, has been expelled from the union because he has allegations of bribery, misuse of union funds. Not only is he almost trying to be indicted, 10 other people have pleaded guilty to federal criminal charges surrounding this particular scandal. Jones is not facing criminal charges, but some charges pending involve bribes paid to union officials by executives at Fiat Chrysler. And now, fellow automaker GM is suing Fiat Chrysler, saying the latter engaged in corrupt bargaining with UAW. Fiat Chrysler called the charges in the suit meritless and will fight them in court. But if you recall, the UAW, which is United Auto Workers, recently waged a 6-week strike at GM that cost the automaker an estimated $6.9 billion.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Try saying all that twice.
I hope that the charges are meritless, because if they're not meritless, I don't know why he's not facing criminal charges. I don't know why these presidents and CEOs and government officials always end up in trouble but never facing criminal charges. Why do they end up sued? Why do they end up spending money? Why aren't they behind bars?
But here's the funny thing. It's a culture thing. Because we have this same talk when we talk about R. Kelly. Why is R. Kelly the only person getting his butt kicked? Actually, it's kind of the opposite now I think about it. Why is R. Kelly getting his butt kicked when all those other fools saw that documentary and admitted that they brought the kids to him? Why is he the only person being taken down?
So you're saying that the president has the complexion for the protection? Is what you're saying? That's why.
Wait, what?
You're saying this president has the complexion for the protection? Is that why?
That's not what I was saying, but that's a nice way to go with this. That's a nice way to go with it. Well, we don't know what color he is, though. We don't know if Mr. Jones is Caucasian.
I thought you knew he was Caucasian.
No, that wasn't the basis of my story, so I don't know if he's Caucasian.
Well, maybe he is Caucasian, because I'm sure they would have said he was black if he was. So I'm going to presume that unless otherwise said.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
But no, it's a culture thing. So, depending on who you are, that's how you get taken down? Is that what we're saying now?
I guess so.
I mean, the fact that he has not been...
Black criminal court, white civil court. That hurt my heart to say. But doesn't that seem like the truth?
Well, now here, look. We're having to account for a new kind of court that has never carried as much weight as it does now. And that is the court of public opinion. The fact that you can be tried, whether you're innocent or guilty, before you actually go to a real trial by public opinion, that's concerning to me. And we've talked about this in the past. It's very concerning to me. Because public opinion does not need facts. It does not need, journalistic instinct.
It has no mercy.
Yeah, it has no mercy. You can be tried and true in the court of public opinion and your whole livelihood be wiped away when you can go to a real court and be found innocent. That's a problem for me.
I agree.
Now, I presented this particular story because, it parallels to where we're going with Lyft and Uber drivers. Because the talk has been that Lyft and Uber needs a union. Now, as somebody who does part-time for both of them, I'm actually starting to agree with that. Because the stunts that they have been pulling, I'm just saying, the stunts that they have been pulling with Lyft and Uber drivers has become egregious. From everything to cutting down the mileage for these individuals, to cutting down their takeaways to these individuals. And because they have been categorized as independent contractors, there's not much that your local government can do. Which has segued us to the next story.
I just have a quick devil's advocate question.
Oh, God, here we go.
Could it be...
You like big business.
Could it be that Uber is responsible, or is having to do this, and really has to cut down their mileage rates or their compensation because all of their contractors are also in bed with the competition? Ergo, it's very important that because you are in both saddles, you've got one foot over here, one foot over there, what are they to do to compete? But to decrease their expenses. Now, if they formed a union, it wouldn't be a collective union. It would be a singular union. And to be a part of that union, you'd have to cut Lyft Go. Or vice versa. Or cut Uber. I mean, as an employee. Well, a person at Coke can't work at Pepsi as well.
Well, now that the union is going to be a rideshare union, so it doesn't matter who you drive for.
Oh, how pitiful.
Now, mind you, Lyft and Uber are not the only ride-sharing apps out there. I haven't heard I can't remember off the top of my head, but I've seen them. There's some new ones popping up. They're just not as popular. No,
that's a scooter.
That's a scooter. I saw an ad for a rideshare company. I forgot what it's called, but they do. You can franchise into it, and they do like a van that you get the name. It's a European company that's trying to come over here. You get the name. And it's kind of like a van limousine type debacle, but it's still rideshare because you're still picking folks up and so on and so forth. So there are other rideshare companies out there. They're just not nearly as popular. And as far as cutting down mileage and stuff, remember at the core, people are driving for Lyft and Uber because it provides flexibility. You can get paid every day and things of that magnitude.
Sounds like contracting to me.
If you keep the fares reasonable and you keep the takeaway reasonable, people wouldn't be straddling between both of them.
Is that so?
Yes.
Or it could be that there's more business over here right now. I got a ping from Lyft. I ain't got a ping from Uber, so I'm about to go and drive Lyft because I just got a ping from Lyft. I thought opportunism.
Again.
Which is fine as a contractor, but it just means that they have to continuously compete. which means that they have to decrease their expenses. I could see the rationale when most rideshare drivers that I know do work for Bolt. It would literally be like an employee working for Pepsi and Coke. It would what if the entire workforce was also working at Pepsi? Like what would Coke? I mean, it's kind of splitting your eggs. That's all.
Well, here's the reason that this is becoming a real conversation, because there are a lot of people doing this. Like, I just thought it was a cute little hobby that people have. No.
Oh yeah,
I'm in a group
every other person.
with people on Facebook. I forgot what it's called, but it's for Lyft and Uber drivers. And the stories that they tell, this group has like 4,000 people and it's growing daily. This is no longer just a hobby. This is a way of life for people. For sure. And if it's going to be a way of life for people, then the conversation that we have pertaining to people who drive for Lyft and Uber needs to change. It can no longer be independent contractors, because a lot of people are more than just independent contractors. This is a way of life. This is a way of life.
Well, it could be a way of life.
If this is what I do on a basis, why shouldn't we have a conversation about healthcare?
Well, here's my thing. If we're going to have a conversation about benefits and you're going to be an employee, you're also confined to a lot. So employees, unlike contractors, have to undergo the kind of background checks that a lot of rideshare drivers might not
Which
have.
they started doing. Uber started doing it.
Well, that was also because of complaints. They didn't want to, but they had to.
I know,
second thing is, if you're my employee, I care about your social media. I care about you showing your butt. Rocking in the club. I care about the way you represent this company as a rideshare driver for this company. I also care about I care a lot more about the type of driving that you do. I care a lot more about the complaints that you get, because you're not just a contractor. So, there's a lot of strings that come along with being an employee.
Half those strings you're talking about, they already do. They will deactivate you for certain things, and they make no qualms about it. Social media, not necessarily. But a lot of stuff you're talking about, they do.
If they have that, you know what, I need you to have water in this car. Or you know what, I need you to drive a certain way. I need you to have mints. I need you to take stop-offs for these customers if they want to stop at the ATM and they want to stop at the thing.
Which they do now.
But they might now say, I need you to do that.
They
and if
do
you don't
now.
do that, it's going to be a real problem.
They're already doing some of these things.
They also, most people know this about employees, where employees get paid more in terms of, employees get paid more benefits, but they usually don't make as much money as contractors for the work. Like the actual hourly wage or salary wage is usually lower because you're getting all those fringe benefits. So here's your 401k, I'm taking back $1 out. Here's your healthcare benefits, I'm taking back $1 out. That's usually how it goes. I don't know for people. I much prefer being a contractor. I really, just because of that flexibility, exactly like you said. Now, when I was in between, and I did try this as well, this was several years ago, I couldn't drive for, I think, Uber at the time. Maybe it was Lyft. Because a couple speeding tickets, right? So they got their own.
Was it really a couple?
Just a couple.
I don't think it's a couple.
It was one. It was just one, but it was a super speeder.
I was about to say it had to be a super speeder.
So whatever. So they decided I couldn't drive for them.
He's gonna glaze over that. Like
I'm just saying, it's not as cute as I think it sounds.
Well, again,
the union.
In the beginning, I didn't think so, but seeing what I'm seeing now, granted, when you flip the script and they become employees, things will dramatically change with everything you were just saying, and I really don't believe that people have accounted for that. But at the same token, if this many people are going to be doing it full time, there has to be a different kind of conversation. And it can't just be, oh, well, Lyft and Uber can kind of do what they want to do. That's kind of how it is now. You know, you get an email and it's like, oh, yeah, well, we're now decreasing, the mileage to 60 cents. From 60 to 30 cents. Like, I don't think it should be that.
It's crazy too, but even with at-will employment, that can still happen. Like which most states have.
Who in God's name came up with employment?
I don't know, but that's what Georgia has.
I would love to know.
And your boss can still come in there with whatever your assistant salary job is and tell you, oh, by the way, next year you're going down a pay. They still can. So
I would love to know.
It is kind of. It does sound kind of crazy because that's kind of contracting. You know what I mean? It's like if it's at will, then why am I? You know what I mean? It makes sense that if I'm an employee, there's some level of a tie, and the tie should go both ways. It shouldn't just go one way. You tied here, and I have no ties at all. I can fire you in the morning. I can fire you after my Cheerios if I feel like it. That's kind of. And
in essence, that's kind of what the law says. Like they don't have to give you a reason. They can be like, you eat my Wheaties today, so you're fired. Like it doesn't, And again, I tell folks, there's a difference between what's enforced and what's written. Right. So somebody, because I heard somebody say the other day, well, I got fired. Do you work in Georgia? Yeah, I'm going to fight it. How? This is admirable thing. What are you going to say? Well, they didn't give me a reason.
Were you that unsympathetic? Were you that unsympathetic?
Look,
talking to you about being fired?
Look, I'm a realist. And, listen to their conversation. I was like, oh, that's cute. No, you don't have a case, sweetie. Well, I'm going to fight it. Oh, they didn't give me a reason. They don't have to. No. Well, that's the law. No, the law is at will. Yeah. Meaning they don't have to give me a reason. You may want to go out to California,
Oregon, or Washington. Now, if you feel you have some sort of discrimination suit, and here's what I learned this practice when I was 21 years old. There's no employment I've ever had that I haven't built a legal case around, if I ever need to. Thank God. Well, in one case, I may need to. In most cases, I've never needed to. But emails, phone calls, every conversation I've ever had with the boss, I've had my recorder on. For everything I may need.
Y'all heard that, so if you ever have
I mean it. I have a case where I keep everything. I don't care what technology I was using. I uploaded it to my cloud because I wanted a record. Every compliment I got from a client, I forwarded it to myself.
What?
So that if I was ever having to stand in court and they claimed that I wasn't a good employee, I could sit here and say, well, actually, I've got 20 clients right here who said I was a great employee. Well, actually, these are my numbers from. I keep you have to. I trust no. That's why I prefer to be a contractor. I can't trust you. I call you. You call me an employee. You get my whole. No overtime pay, right? So you get my whole life, my whole soul, right? I can't post on Twitter what I want because it's a reflection of the. I basically become, you know what? So I need an arsenal. I need evidence right here. So every conversation I ever have with the supervisor, I got to record it. For my future attorney.
Okay, so Simone is ridiculous, but there's another. There's another
good idea,
people. So in New Jersey, Uber was fined $649 million for saying drivers aren't employees. So this discussion about independent contractors versus employees is becoming a serious conversation.
That's crazy.
So for all the individuals who are driving Uber and Lyft, and they are talking about unionizing and all this stuff, do your research. It has its pluses, it has its minuses. But I think that we do need to have the conversation about what is an independent contract as it pertains to rideshare versus an employee. And I do believe that there should be some kind of unionization for rideshare at this point because too many people are doing it full time. And I will say, as somebody who does it part time, it does come in very handy. But I do know a lot of people that do it full time, and it's the way they live. And I don't think when people are depending on your company to make ends meet or as their bread and butter, that you should be able to just play by your own rules with very limited, and I'll say local government, very limited local government guidelines. That's what I stand on. But that's just me.
That's fair. That's very fair.
And then somebody just pulled out of Georgia. One of those the scooter companies is pulling out. Is it Bird? I don't know if it's Bird.
I know that they just had to pull out of is it San Francisco?
Is it maybe
some of the major cities. Bird just had to pull out of some major cities.
It might be Bird. One of the scooter companies is pulling out.
And is it Georgia or Atlanta?
Atlanta. They're pulling out of Atlanta.
Yeah, that probably is.
Yeah, which is pretty much Georgia.
the market, yeah.
They're pulling out of. Will we feel it? Probably not, because there's 50,000 other ones that's waiting in the wings to
I'm not with these birds anymore.
I like them.
I love the idea.
I like that. I rode one. It's nice, but first of all, I think those things are too fast, and the fact that they're too fast, I almost got hit by a car. They're too fast, and I don't think that we thought. Atlanta has a lot of knee-jerk reactions that we like to do. We think things sounds nice until we do them, and I don't think that we account for a lot of things.
The city's not set up. I've done it in other cities. I've done it in DC, and I've done it out west. I'm not because of the way that we're so vehicle heavy. Mm-hmm. Even downtown, people who live downtown and work downtown will sometimes still take a car to work. There's just too many cars for me to possibly feel comfortable. The streets are not paved well enough for me to possibly feel comfortable.
And apparently you can't ride them on the sidewalk.
From a broken ankle. Right.
You can't ride them on the sidewalk.
Oh, well, then no. Then you definitely won't speak.
You're apparently supposed to ride them in the side lane on the street.
Where I'm just a sit duck.
Literally. It's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Are they creating it? Not fast enough.
Creating and having a lane are two different things.
And people respecting that lane.
Exactly. Like I was downtown the other day near the State Farm Arena, and I was on that main strip.
You've been going downtown so often.
I don't have a choice.
Really changed.
I didn't have a choice.
Go ahead.
I just said I was hanging out. I said I was down. I said I was hanging out. And I was driving the car, and there were people on the side on those little scooters wobbling, and I'm just like, now if he falls off this thing and falls in front of my car, am I liable?
Manslaughter.
Is that vehicular? What is it? Vehicular manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
When he was wobbling and should have got on the sidewalk, but now it's like he can't get on the sidewalk because legally he can't ride it on the sidewalk.
Right.
So who came up with this?
Right. And if you saw him wobbling, we gotta talk. You would immediately found guilty because you saw him, which means that you had an opportunity to do something.
Which, mind you, I'm downtown in the middle of rush hour, so me swerving to not hit him is not an option right now. So what am I supposed to do? And what is he supposed to do? Because he can't ride it on the sidewalk. So he has to ride it on that little side of the street,
It's just dangerous.
which has potholes in it. So now he's trying to avoid the potholes, and in him trying to avoid the potholes, he's wobbling to get close to my car. And in my attempt to not hit him, I can't go any farther into my lane because I'm in rush hour
You
traffic.
better take that pothole. That pothole feel a whole lot better than some
So then
steel.
he's gonna die because these potholes can swallow cars.
No, I believe.
So now he's gonna die.
But I think pothole to a vehicle. I don't know.
So who actually wins in this scenario is my question.
It's just a bad look. Like, we don't have the street infrastructure set up to do it. We don't have it set up to do it. We just don't. And culturally, that has to change too. Of commuting for that to even work. Because when I go back home, when I do go to Portland, which like bikers run Portland, bicycles, not bikers, bicyclists, they run Portland, and cars will be forced to stop. They move like with more vehemence than actual drivers behind the wheel. Drivers are very slow, very cautious. The bikers are everywhere, and there's bike lanes everywhere. Like, the culture is set up to where people know to respect the bikers, and they do. Atlanta ain't set up that way. Atlanta is kill or be killed on
every front. Like
at 2 p.m.
Everything.
The same. You would think it was rush hour at 2 p.m. You would think it was rush hour mentality on Saturday morning. Crazy.
Fun fact, because we're almost out of time.
Yeah.
Burger King is running out of zesty sauce because of a global horseradish shortage. So if you like their zesty sauce, you might want to talk to the agricultural department about getting them some more horseradish. Because right now they can't make any more zesty sauce.
Do you eat horseradish?
No.
Can you cover your controversial food opinion? Can we discuss controversial food opinions?
What do you mean?
I'll disclose mine first. So it's just controversial food opinions. I saw somebody post it over the weekend, and I shared mine. What I shared over the weekend was people who eat boiled eggs indoors are disrespectful. When it's enclosed spaces, when nobody has a window, it's disrespectful to eat a boiled egg. That's my first controversial food opinion.
Wait. Wait. I have to put my glass down this one. Wait.
You know the smell of boiled eggs.
Well, that would be my next question. Are you saying the boiled egg themselves, or are you talking about the aftermath?
It's current. It's as you boiling an egg, the smell begins to emerge, and it's unacceptable to eat those in an enclosed space. There was somebody in London was eating one on a train, and it actually led to a physical altercation because the train, you can't open a door on like a train.
I mean, it's an egg.
Boiled eggs. So you brought me to my second one, which is I don't eat condiments. They're repulsive to me. So I would love to hear one of your horseradish or otherwise.
So no ketchup, no mustard, no mayonnaise.
No.
You don't need to be raising kids.
No.
I'm just telling you up front. You need to be raising kids.
I'm not saying I don't serve it. My wife eats. I have condiments in my home. I just can't possibly digest anything like that. But go ahead. Do
you have a problem with touching that kind of stuff? Like, if ketchup gets in your hand, you're like,
oh
my God.
When I wash the dishes, that's what women have to do. Yeah, a lot of stuff we don't want.
But are you disgruntled while you're doing it?
Yes, I'm disgruntled during a lot of domestic duty disgruntlement.
P.
But that's what she is for. Now,
oh my God.
I want to hear one of your controversial food opinions. Is there any food that you just makes your skin crawl that everybody else loves or likes, or that just don't make, some people hate applesauce but love apple juice or something?
Okay, so I love ketchup, but I hate tomatoes. The thought of somebody eating a tomato is disgusting, but I love ketchup. Like, I cannot eat anything without ketchup. And the disappointing thing about getting older is you can't eat certain things that you love. So now that I have acid reflux,
you can't eat ketchup?
I mean, I can, but I can't go at it like I used to. Like, I would smother my plate
must have the lowest acidity of all condiments. It's not salsa.
Depending on the day, depending on the day of the week, me and ketchup we can't see eye to eye. Now, it's not as bad as marinara sauce, which is my other problem because I love pizza. Pizza is my favorite food, and I can eat a whole pizza by myself and that was cute when I was 20. Mm-hmm. But trying to devour a whole pizza now that has a lot of marinara sauce on it, I'm going to be belly up and miserable the hour after I do it.
Not belly up.
Belly up and miserable the hour after I do it.
Lord.
So I hate tomatoes but love ketchup.
That's crazy. I love tomatoes.
Tomatoes are disgusting. I hate salad. The thought of eating a salad and it crunching in my mouth is disgusting.
Are you a kid?
Huh?
You talking about pizza and french fries and you hate salad. Are you a kid?
I eat like a kid. I've told you this. I eat like a kid. Like, I'm not a foodie by any stretch of the imagination.
You need to experience incarceration.
Ma'am.
What I'm saying is,
if
you've ever been deprived of vegetables, actual living food, God's food, you would love vegetables.
Which, honestly, I'm not going to lie. When the zombie apocalypse happens, I'm in trouble. Because I'm going to have to scourge
you have no survival skills?
At all. I don't know how to live off the land, which is funny considering I'm from the country, the real country. And the only thing that will survive a nuclear holocaust will probably be canned goods. And canned goods are not going to have hot dogs in it. They're not going to have pizza in it. No. So I'm going to be forced to eat stuff that I don't normally eat. No. I have a sword that I plan on using for the zombie apocalypse like Michonne. That's memorabilia. Because the only way to survive is to cut off heads. That's your comic book memorabilia. I'm just telling you. That's the only way to survive a nuclear holocaust when it comes to zombies is to have a machete or a sword. So I have both of those. But yeah, having a gun for the zombie apocalypse is not going to do you any good because unless you shoot them in the head and you will run out of bullets and make a bunch of noise to bring more walkers. So yeah, you need to be able to just cut off heads. So that's for those of you who don't know. There's your tip for today. But you don't get nothing else from today's show. You learn how to survive a zombie holocaust. Don't get you a gun because you're not going to be able to use it because it's going to echo and the sound is going to bring other walkers. So you have to learn how to use a machete, maybe a knife, or a sword because the only thing you can do is cut off their heads in silence. So there's a tip for today. We're out of time. Any parting thoughts you may have?
No, wait till I ask what Bible you read. We'll get to that later. I don't know what Bible you read.
That's not in the book. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that The Walking Dead is one of the top shows all the time, and they're creating spin-offs about walkers. I've seen 15 movies about zombies. That's not a coincidence. They're preparing you for the future. We are out of time. Thank you for listening to the Leadership Blend with your host, Ricardo D. Rice. I'm just telling you. It's a thing.
And you was raised in the word. In the church.
It's a thing. I'm just telling you it's a
zombie.
It's a thing.
Oh, Lord. I was thinking about taking one of those classes, though. They have them all over Georgia for like $50. A little survivalist class. They teach you how to forage, how to tell the difference between poison foods and non-poison foods. Teach you how to kill stuff and eat it if you have to, and make a shelter to keep yourself warm. I was thinking about taking one of those. I was going to buy it for me for Christmas.
I'm concerned. You would.
It's simple. Survival skills are important. You gotta pick between berry A and berry B, and you could die. You all know the right one.
I'm just saying. I'm
Go to this meeting real quick, and then catch me some boy meets world. When are you going to have time?